Today we're catching some sun and waves with Jacqui, a QHS member whose life is as vibrant and refreshing as a seaside breeze. What currents brought her to the sunny shores of the quantum shift? Let's surf behind the scenes to see the waves she's been riding.
Hi, my name is Jacqui. I was born in the UK near Manchester, and my dad was a bricklayer and he got a contract in Zambia in Africa. So we left there when I was 5 years old and went to Zambia. We were there 3 years, came back to the UK for 9 months, went to Lesotho for 2 years. Those were my favorite times, riding horses up in the mountains, and then all over South Africa. So when we were in South Africa, I was 14 when I arrived in Durban, and I met my daughter's father when I was 16 and fell pregnant when I was 17, and we got married. We were married 13 years. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. He had that little green monster on his shoulder, very jealous and possessive, which caused a lot of problems. So I divorced him. I was 30, and at the age of 33, I met somebody who was very charming. My friends loved him, my family loved him. And within a few months, I got really ill. And I'd always been very fit, very athletic, never been sick a day in my life. So I went to see my doctor who delivered my daughter, and he said I had flu. So I thought, okay, well, this is what flu feels like. I was feverish, I had headaches. I don't know how I managed to get through the days at work. And then I went down to my mom's, who was mom and dad's, hour and a half down the coast to visit them. And I was cold and it was really, really hot. And I was getting headaches. And she said, Jacqui, this doesn't sound like flu. You need to go and have a second opinion, which I did. They took bloods and they asked me to admit myself to hospital. But it turned out I didn't have flu, I had meningitis and encephalitis. So luckily I went for a second opinion, else I wouldn't be here today. Anyway, I wasn't responding to the treatment for the meningitis and encephalitis. So they put me in an induced coma for 16 days. They tested me for cat flu, malaria because I've been to Mozambique, flu culture for TB, all came back negative. I was really ill, and the neurologist, he just said to my parents, he asked their permission if could do an HIV test because he had tested for everything else, and they said yes, sure, and it came back positive, and then they could pump me with the necessary medication and then brought me out the coma. Then they had to break the news to me in the hospital, which was quite shocking. So I thought, well, you think it's related to drug addicts or prostitutes or something, but anyway, my main concern was this boyfriend was going to leave me. And when he arrived at the hospital, my brother took him. Well, first of all, I was taken down the corridor by the doctors and everybody. They broke the news to me. Then when he arrived, my brother took him down the corridor and broke the news to him. And his reaction was, oh, my babe, I'm so sorry, I'll be here for you. And my family was so grateful that he was standing by me. And he was at the hospital every day for 2 weeks, greeting my work colleagues and my friends, and being so supportive. They thought he was amazing. So I came out of hospital in a wheelchair and went and convalesced at my parents for a few months before going back to work. Anyway, he used to come down on the weekends, and they were very grateful that he was there for me, until this phone call came through to my mom. And my friend had been at a dinner party, and she was asked if I was still seeing him, because you know that he's got full-blown AIDS. He's known for 5 years, and he infected one of our friend's sisters in Cape Town, and she's got a child. And there's another woman that's got a child, and they're both positive. So my mom obviously didn't want to tell me the information there and then because he had a gun, and she was worried. Like, she waited till he left, and then I was also waiting on tender hooks for him because he said he wanted to go and get tested, and I said yes, sure. So when the phone call came through and he was positive, I broke down in tears thinking, oh my God, I've infected him. And my mum and dad said, Jacqui, you need to sit down, we need to tell you something. And they told me, obviously I didn't want to believe it. He came out with all different excuses. And I just went into shock. I was screaming up and down the passage, and Mom phoned the doctor. She said, no, it's just shock. He had left by the stage. When I got back to Durban, I asked if I could meet him. And I said to him, how could you do this to me? My daughter's 15. Her father had disappeared after a divorce. So, and in those days, it was a death sentence. I was told 5 to 7 years without medicine, 15 to 20 with medicine. So he said to me, he looked me in the eyes and he said, the more people I could take with me, the better it made him feel. He didn't want to die alone. So I thought to myself, no, you can't do this. This is so wrong. And I understand why the other girls, because there were other girls that came forward when I took him to court. I understand because of the stigma, but I just thought, no. So I met with the murder and robbery squad. I was going for manslaughter, but then I found out I was a company buyer, but it's shocking. In South Africa, they don't cover HIV medication. So if you can't afford it, you die, basically. Isn't that awful? So I thought to myself, well, he's no good in jail. I need my medication. So I changed my plea to loss of life, pain and suffering. It was at the High Court in Durban in South Africa in 1996. It was a year long. I won my court case, unprecedented. Was awarded hundreds of thousands, which I never saw a penny because his boss covered for him and he was dealing in cash. But I didn't feel it was a waste. It was a moral victory because I stopped him, he was exposed. It was a big thing in South Africa. Anyway, so then I needed my medication. So my parents and family all cashed in their insurance policies and all the savings. And back then, over the 4 years, it cost them R250,000 for my medication. And then they had to sit me down and say, Jacqui, we can't afford it anymore. You've got to go back to the UK. Luckily, I was born here, so I could come and get free meds. So I had to leave my family, my job, my friends. I hadn't really been out the country when I'd been to Mozambique or whatever, so it was all like exciting. And I came over with a boyfriend who left a couple months later because they wouldn't let him stay legally. And then suddenly I found myself like very, very alone. And I think it dawned on me why I was in the UK, because I think I'd been in denial for 4 years. I carried on working. I still had the support system of my family and friends. And suddenly I realized, no, I'm here because of HIV. And then I started getting panic attacks. And my mom and dad moved back because my dad's health deteriorated. So that took my mind off it. But I still think I was in survival mode for many, many years. And when I was it 48, I think, I just fell to my knees and I just started praying, and something happened where I ended up in this place that I've been putting out to the universe. It came to me and I arrived here. I was still getting panic attacks. I went to see a shaman and I had a shamanic healing. And after that, everything opened. All these things appeared, these books, these courses. And I thought, where was this all my life? And they said, teacher shows up when the student's ready. And then I was like a child in a candy shop. I couldn't get enough. And then I've been on this healing journey. I was still a bit distracted with traveling and friends and partying. But I think I was being prepared for what was coming because I've always had a deep intuition. I had an out-of-body experience when I was younger. I just know things. I don't know why. I've been told that I'm an old soul, I'm Starseed, which makes sense because I never felt like I belonged here. I always had this yearning to go home. And I thought, why? I have a home here. No, I always knew there was other life out there, It's been a long journey, but I also believe whatever's happened, it hasn't happened to me, it's happened for me. I've grown so much as a person. I've remembered who I am. In 2020, I don't like using the word download, but when something happens, and it's happened all my life, I get these messages. And of course, I looked into it, started researching, and then of course, I've been speaking the truth to anybody that will listen, hoping that I'm at least planting seeds. Most people think I'm crazy. But so then I went through a very dark night of the soul in 2020. It lasted a year. But I believe it was all healing, all preparing, lifting that veil. I had to see I had to look at that darkness. You got to shine the light on the darkness. You know what I mean? So I know I'm here. I know my purpose, why I'm here. And I just want to make the world a better place. I came to QHS through Alex Collier because I followed him. And I like what it stands for. I feel like now this is my soul family. I am, I love little children. I love animals. That's why my 2 dogs are in the pictures, because they ground me. Animals ground me. I love animals. I connect more with animals than humans. I don't know why. But one day I hope to have an animal sanctuary. And I just want the world to be happy. I want it to be at peace. I want everybody to be healthy. I want everybody to care about each other. And I've got so much love in my heart, and it just makes me so sad because I knew there was something not right in this world. I could feel it. I knew it from a little girl. I used to always think, I wish I could be like a fairy, I used to imagine. And I could fly around the world with a little finger, and I could see the evil and just point my lights, and they would just disintegrate. So, yeah, that's my prequel. That's my story.
Join us on the prequel, where every story matters and every voice is heard. Because here at QHS, we're all about healing, learning, and growing together.